Happy 2026, guys. Welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Andrew, Carmine, and Don Buster with you today for all of your best bets in the NHL. And as Carm said to you guys earlier in the week, we do have a bit of a frozen frenzy going on today as well. Games all day long, similar to yesterday. Hope you guys had a fun night last night, ringing in the new year. Hope you guys all made some money in the NHL last night as well. But you know what, Carm? There's no time to rest up. There's no time to take it easy. We got to find some winners, and we can do that with this board here today. A good handful of games to break down. Look forward to doing it with you, Carm. How are you? How was your night last night?
Can you hear me? Everything good? Yeah.
Yes,
Happy New Year, everyone. Night was good. Early dinner at Andrew. You guys have a keg out east?
Yes, sir.
That's where we went. The keg last night. It was supposed to be with my wife and a couple of buddies. One of them couldn't make it out, so it was the three of us. We ate up a storm, but it was like a 6:30 meal. So I was home by and they want you out of there in 2 hours. So I was home by 8:30 and watching some NHL while just absolutely chilling. So it was a good night overall, a good day overall, I think, across all sports. A couple of college football winners. NHL bad beats. Remember Teddy? Teddy used to do the bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books or whatever, the BBB. That's how it felt for me yesterday. Nashville. Come on, man. It's like the Nashville game. I have over 6 and they score 5 goals in the first period, 3-2. You think you're good. And they ended up on 6 goals. A power play and 4 minutes with an empty net, and I couldn't get a 7th goal. But Tampa Bay, the pod play, made up for it. 3-3 goes to OT. We get the win and the over 6.5. And that was pretty much it. I was a little surprised by a couple of the results last night as well, too. But we're right back at it. First game, right 1 o'clock, I think, Ottawa and Washington. We're not going to cover that game just because it is so early. We're going to do Detroit and Pittsburgh, you and I. Buster's coming in to because he's a huge Leafs fan, so he's going to do Winnipeg and the Toronto Maple Leafs. You and I will break down Tampa Bay and the LA Kings. And no same game parlay today, but we do have a pod. And then that's it. We're going to send you off to watch some college football, some NHL, and just have and recover from New Year's Eve. How's that sound?
Carm, that sounds great to me. And I got a handful of games I picked out for today in the NHL, so I'm looking forward to it. 6-1 run now going into the new year. So that's kind of nice. You know, not a huge run, but 6-1, we'll take it. We actually had the Capitals yesterday, and 6th spot, I believe they put up. We had the team total over 3.5, so we'll see how they do. I want to ask you, before we dive in, Carm, are you taking any type of angle with New Year's Eve celebrations? Like, should we be backing older teams or younger teams, or they're pro athletes? They shouldn't be worried about it.
No, I don't. These guys are professionals. Nobody was out partying. I joked about it with Nashville yesterday in Vegas, the early game, roll the dice and then get out there and party. But no, I was... these guys are going to be out on the ice. It's their profession. Be out there partying. They'll party when the season's over. When where do they end up in the NHL when they get eliminated? They head down to Cancun. Is that the story? Kind of like baseball. We're heading to Cancun. I don't think so. You know, you look at like Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay played last night. They're in the second of back-to-back, but they hop on a bus, Andrew, and go from Anaheim to LA. It is a very, 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 very short trip for them. And it's not like when you play in beer leagues where you got to carry your own equipment to the bus or to the car or whatever. These guys are getting changed onto the bus, head to the new hotel, and that's it. They're done. So I'm not really worried about that. Don Buster, he's going to be joining us in a little while. We'll see what he did. I heard no reports of any bars in Mexico getting shot up, thrown out or whatever. So obviously he has no bad beats to talk about, which is good. But Andrew, let's get started, man. Pittsburgh Penguins and Detroit. A little surprised by this line, you think, with Detroit? They continue to roll that weird fishy line yesterday with Winnipeg, and I put Winnipeg, I think, in my 6-60, which went 3-3 yesterday. So pretty crappy, but the pod play is where it's at right now.
Yeah,
Minus
you keep rolling with
132.
those, man. Your pod plays keep rolling, so you'll take that.
Yeah, we're up 50% in the pod plays, but Pittsburgh 132. I don't get it. Make me understand. Detroit plus 109. Total sits here at 6.5. Make me understand this line, Andrew.
I feel like that's just like the new segment we have is like we put these games on the board that you and I are both like scratching our head with. And of course, as you mentioned yesterday, the Winnipeg one, the Winnipeg one was one that didn't really make sense. The only thing we can really think about is there some type of rest factor here that we take into consideration, Carm? Because remember how I'm always talking about how, like, if it's a second half of a back-to-back, but you have a team motivated, it's different than if a team is, coming off a win, right? And I used that yesterday actually for the Devils, and they actually were successful. They were coming off a 4-0 shutout loss against the Maple Leafs, and then they end up getting the win yesterday. I know they played the Blue Jackets, but that saying that I've been using for most of the season, I think it works pretty well. So that's kind of the adage is like, you fade a team when they're coming off a win, and you maybe look to bet on them when they're playing second half of back-to-back when they're coming off a loss. Looking at that game for Detroit, they looked pretty good, I would say. Like a lot of the numbers that I'm going over here, it seems like this team, like, as much as I haven't really believed in them, Carm, like this is a team that we have to give a little bit of credit to, because whether it's defensive victories or whether it's offensive victories, they've been finding a way to get the job done. There's no denying it. I know Winnipeg is a struggling team right now. We can't really say that, that win yesterday was against an upper echelon team, because Winnipeg has not been good this season. But Carm, the cool thing about this matchup here is that it's going to be a back-to-back, a home and home between these two teams, right? So you've got Detroit and Pittsburgh playing today, and then on Saturday, they're going to play at noon once again. So you could kind of go for that angle where you wait to see what happens in this game and you make your play reflecting based on what you saw in tonight's game on Saturday. But if I'm playing, I'm laying. I will take the home team today. Pittsburgh does play better at home right now. The only thing I do worry about is the defensive metrics have been really sliding for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They were in probably, the second or third tier as far as their defensive metrics are concerned. And over the last 15 games, 10 games, they've just dripped down into the bottom tier. So maybe look towards the over. Or if I was playing the Pittsburgh Penguins, I love those team totals, Carm. Maybe I don't worry about what the Red Wings do, and I just take a look overall at the Pittsburgh team total over. When it comes to the starting goalies in this one here, you got to think with this Pittsburgh Penguins team, like you don't really want to worry about the goaltending situation. Like when I'm looking at it here, I don't think that Pittsburgh's really a team, whether it's Stuart Skinner or Shelov's, where I really want to be betting on the goalie. So I think team total is probably the way to go. Cam Talbot, probable 11-6-2 on the year, but he has an 888 save percentage. So Carm, I'm going to go with the home team. We'll try again here today. We'll take the team the numbers a bit weird on. We're going to bet on the team that is well out of a playoff spot against the team that is in a playoff position near the top of their division. And again, it's a home and home with these two teams. So based on what I see in this one, I'll be able to make a good decision for Saturday's game as well. But what do you say we do it again here, Carm? We got to trust our process. And we didn't hit Winnipeg yesterday, but maybe we can hit Pittsburgh today.
Yeah, it's the I got sucked in by the fishy line yesterday, but and maybe it's another one today. But I think Pittsburgh, if the goalies, and Shelovs is confirmed, but if it's Cam Talbot in goal, like he's 2-6 his last 8 games, a couple of OT losses in there, and when you look at it, you think 2-6 on a struggling team is acceptable, but on a Detroit team that is winning games, 2-6 is not a good record for a goalie. And this is with that goaltending duo that they have, and that's why Gibson, I think, is getting more of the starts and is becoming the number one goalie there. Talbot's going to be the backup, clearly. But 132 on Pittsburgh, and you know me, and Lowe's kid, when he watches a little later on, wakes up from his drunken stupor or whatever he's in. No, he's not. But he's going to be like, Carm took the Penguins. What the heck is going on there? But yeah, I am taking the Pittsburgh Penguins today, minus 132. It'll probably be a small client play as well, based on the goalies. Once there's a goalie confirmation, it'll probably be like a 2% play for me.
Same for me, Carmine. It's the same price on this one that it was yesterday on the Capitals team. I like the plus 115. So if anybody's interested as well, Habs Relic mentions it. Plus 115 for them to get 4 goals. You have to think, Carm, I don't have the data in front of me, but you have to think most of the wins the Pittsburgh Penguins get, they need 4 goals. They're not winning a lot of low-scoring games, right? They're not winning a lot of 2-1 games.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The Pens went through that the whole stretch, and I was fading the Pens the whole way and making money off of them. But they've won like 3 of their last 4 games. The game against Carolina was absolutely flat in that game. Freddie Anderson did not play well, and that's the one thing with adding plays for my clients and waiting is on some goalie confirmations, because now we're at the halfway point of the season, and I think that with some of the teams, when you identify that a goalie is struggling or a goalie is not doing well, you need to wait to make sure he is in goal. And that was something with Thatcher Demko. When I took Philadelphia as a pod play a couple of days ago, and that one won. I talked about the same thing about Freddie Anderson being in goal. I tried to approach that a little differently. Instead of taking Pittsburgh in that game, Andrew, I tried to go with over 6. Freddie Anderson allows like 5 goals in that game. It finishes 5-1. I thought Carolina would at least contribute a couple of goals to that, but the thought process is there. Attack teams with struggling goalies, and this is one of those ones where I like what the Wings are doing this season, but I don't like what Cam Talbot is doing lately. So 2 and 6,
and especially teams are using their backup more than ever now. Like, remember we talked about it a couple weeks ago, where like back in the day there used to be starting goalies playing 65 games, like a ridiculous amount of games, but now the backup goalies are getting more games. So there's a big difference for some teams between the 1A and the 1B, or the starter versus the backup. And if you can expose a backup, then you're going to be able to make money. So let's find out how Buster's night was. Buster, happy New Year, brother. Happy 2026. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I came on this show and I heard Carmine saying about a bad beat or something. I'm not sure what that was. I wouldn't say got a bad beat. I had a bad push, and it just reminded me of you guys talk about the Carolina game. I had that Vegas game over 6, and I was 4-2 with about 12 minutes left in the second period and couldn't get another goal. So those games are killers. And the game I gave out the other day, I gave out Carolina, but I said I did like the over and had a little play on the over, and that's another game. And Carmine just mentioned that it was 5-1 after the second period. We all should have won that game.
Yeah.
Right. It was 5-1 after. So there's a couple of games when you're doing this, and it's a long, I always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. Those kind of games hurt. Even though you push them, they should be winners. They hurt because a lot of times you get games that, you should win, and we all know you lose. So, but besides that, Happy New Year to everybody. Glad to be on the show for the first show of the 2026 season, and hopefully we can give you a winner today.
Yeah, Buster, and you failed to mention one of the biggest games of the night to close off the year.
That was
they have had this this game circled for 12 or 13 years now, the Buffalo Sabres, as a revenge game going into Dallas and beating the Dallas Stars. 10 wins in a row for the Buffalo Sabres. 10 wins in a row. Let's just award them the Stanley Cup right now.
And they're in a playoff spot now. They're actually in a
Yeah, I
playoff
know.
spot.
10 wins in a row, and they're barely in a playoff spot right now, is what we should be saying. But Buster,
Full disclosure, guys, I just want to say Dallas was my only loser last night. It went 2-1 in hockey, and it was the first time I went against those Sabres. I really believed that I just made a small play because the juice was so high. But I'll tell you, watching that game, that Dallas Buffalo, if they play like that, they may go 15, 16, 17 games. They played excellent hockey. I mean, they outworked them, out hustled them at home. They really did, and and they're getting some good goaltending. So all those things, yeah, I won't stand in front of it again. I did it once. I'll just wait to see it because we all know good things come to an end, which I might elaborate a little bit in this next.
The whole division is great. Like with Buffalo stepping up now,
and I mentioned on yesterday's show. Yeah, I mentioned on yesterday's show is the minute the Sabres lose, I'm just going to double up on them losing again and again. Right? Because right now, in that dressing room, they're on a high, 10 wins in a row. But when you lose that game, normally you see good teams that are on a good run lose a game, and then they lose a second game and maybe a third game. It's the law of diminishing returns kind of, or the regression to the mean. At some point, when the Sabres lose a game, they're going to lose 2, they're going to lose 3, they're going to lose 4. It's just a matter of that schedule and where that break in the schedule becomes. But you decided for some reason to start your 2026 talking about your second favorite team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, minus 137 against the Winnipeg Jets, plus 113 with a total of 6. Break it down for us.
Yeah, as I said to you last night, there's a lot of games today with teams that played yesterday, and they all seem to be on the road, which I find a little strange, but which makes for a tough night to me. I just think this is a tough card to go through. But I grabbed this Winnipeg game. The Jets come to Toronto on a back-to-back, as you guys talked about them playing in Detroit yesterday, and it's going to be the third game in 4 nights. However, I think Winnipeg's got even a little bit of a bigger problem going on right now. They've only won once in 11 games. That's not good. Now, Toronto, as you said, Carmine, I think they're a 140 favorite. And it might be a little bit larger. It looks like Matthews is going to play tonight. Nylander, he didn't skate this morning, so chances are he may not, but it's probably a game time decision there. That line would be a lot higher if both of those guys were playing, that's for sure. Toronto played a solid game last game, beat New Jersey 4-0 without those two guys, so maybe it's time to get a big trade going on in Toronto. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that. That's probably something needs to happen there to shake things up. Maybe even though they have Wall and net and he's been playing really well, you're going to need a real goalie. I don't know if there's a lot out there available, but you're going to need a real goalie to win that Stanley Cup or to at least make the playoffs even at this point. But you have to remember, Toronto has won 3 of the last 4. But if you go back before that 3 out of 4, they had lost 5 out of 6. So this team is about as inconsistent as it comes. They're just all over the place. And I'm not sure you really want to bet Toronto tonight, only because at what point does Winnipeg get that monkey off their back? That's the way you got to ask yourself. They are 2-1 in this back-to-back situation on the season, and they have played better their last 4 games. They lost 2 games in OT. They dominated it. If you ask me, I watched a lot of that game against Edmonton, and they lost, but they just couldn't score. A problem that they do have sometimes because they want to play more defense, and I think that they have to start opening things up. And then last night, you guys talked about the Detroit game. It was, they could have won. They lost 2-1. It was one of those games, but I think they're playing better. Truthfully, I'm not 1 win in 11 games. My gut, watching 40 years of hockey, 45, I guess, I keep aging myself, tells me Winnipeg could be the play here. I don't want to play Toronto at the 140, but as I've said before on this show years ago, your gut doesn't decide things for you. This is a bad situation for Winnipeg, and so I'm going to pass aside here. What we do play is the over here, but I'm going to get into breaking this down a bit. Even though Toronto has played way much more unders in this month of December, and they do play a lot of unders at home. They have gone 4 of their last 6 to the over. Now, head-to-head between these guys play any type of game. It seems to be could be high scoring, low scoring, and they're 4 overs, 4 unders in the last 8. So we can have any type of game here. We do always like playing the over after when the team comes in a third game in 4 nights. So you guys talking about that Detroit-Pittsburgh game, I'm with you. I kind of like it over myself, but I think the line's 6.5, so you might have a little pause on that. But yeah, I like playing a game over like that. But the total here is 6, and I see some 6.5s too. So I find that a little strange was told, because last night, like late, it was 5.5 over 40 or something like that. So you could have maybe played that, and it's gone up a goal, I think, at FanDuel even, which is crazy. But in saying all that, what I'm going to do is the Andrew McInnis special, except for I'm going to lay a little bit of juice. We are going to play it over, but we're going to play the Winnipeg Jets over 2.5 goals. It's -140. Like I say, Andrew wouldn't, it's kind of an Andrew McInnis special. You wouldn't play this because of the juice, but I really like it. I think they have to be more offensive tonight. And tonight will be a good night to do it, especially because they have played pretty good lately, even though they haven't got the results. But they also, I think they have to play more offensively, guys.
I like it, Buster, and it's like I've been talking about. There's a difference between a team and a second half of back-to-back off a loss or off a win. You know, these teams come in motivated and you know, fired up a little bit. Do you think there's a difference here? I know you talked about the Leafs and their play style recently, but sometimes people talk about a team coming into a game off a game in which they were shut out. But what about a Leafs team off a game in which they shut somebody else out? I don't think they can replicate that performance.
I agree, right? For sure, they won't, and especially if Matthews is supposed to be back, and I know they seem to play a little bit different with him. There's no doubt about that, and it should be a good thing, should it not? But for some reason, like I said before, they have gone 3 out of 4, winning 3 of their last 4. But before that, they had lost 5 out of 6 games. So I say this all the time. If I write up a game with Toronto involved, I'm really not sure what we get with this Leafs team from night to night. That seems to be a problem. So I don't really play them at all that much. And if I am playing them, it's either an over or an under. So
easier to use the totals.
I am gonna do the Andrew special and go the other way. I'm gonna take the Leafs team total over 3.5 goals plus 110 on this one, Andrew. And here's my thoughts.
The full game over then.
No, because Winnipeg might not contribute anything. Who knows what we get out of Joseph?
No, I just gave everybody a winner on the Winnipeg over 2.5.
Well, no, listen. If we don't disagree, there is no market. If we agree, if we agree, there is no market. It's about disagreeing.
Well, both things can be true, Carmine.
Eric Comrie in goal. The guy hasn't played since December 11th because it's been all Connor Hellebuck since he's come back. So it's like 8 or 9 games in a row for Hellebuck. And you look at the 3 previous games that Comrie had, 3 straight games where he allowed 4 or 5 goals in each one of those games. He's not a number 1 goalie. He's barely a number 2 goalie. And when you're a number 2 goalie on a team like Winnipeg, who's struggling to score goals anyways, you're going to end up with a lot of L's. Kind of like I was joking around with Wash Redskins, who told me that the Sabres were going to get the L last night, but it didn't happen. But with that said, we love our followers, the commenters. So don't worry, Wash, you guys. The Redskins. The Capitals won yesterday. Leafs plus 110. I'd rather take the Leafs team total than I would the Leafs minus 137. Plus 110. Give me the plus money, baby.
Well, you guys can both win your bets. The only thing is that I think that we're going to get probably a little bit of a lackluster start from the Leafs just because they have not been able to follow up a good performance with another good performance. I know that sounds like a bad, handicap, but it's true. This team, they give their coach a reason to get excited about something, and then they just don't follow it up. Like you guys, Berube was talking to them like they were a bunch of like middle schoolers. Like he was so proud of them for playing against. Like, dude, these guys make millions of dollars. You're so proud of them. It's like, hey, Austin Matthews, I know you didn't play tonight, but I'm so proud of you for cheering on your team in the press box. Like, these guys aren't going to be able to follow up a 4-0 lead, I don't think, with another good performance. So this will be a good one because, I think that it's definitely a contrarian play, Buster. So we'll see how it goes. But Buster, I know you do multiple sports. What do you have going on at WagerTalk?
I just wanted to mention there, Andrew, what you said about Berube. You know what? Even Berube, he doesn't even know what to make of his own team. Like, because they play, they could be so good, but they just play it so inconsistent. And it's just, that's why he was probably even doing that in the press conference, because he doesn't even know what to do. And that guy's a great coach too. So anyways, tonight we have a NHL play. We actually put out a double play package NHL last night. Those 2 games did win. And we have 1 game up tonight. Like I said, find it a tough little NHL schedule for me when I was going through all the games. So we do have one that we like, and put that up at the site of WagerTalk. Also, remember, what's best to do is grab the 3 days of NHL. They still have that special going, the hat trick special. 3 days, includes any 5% that we release, only $49. And like I said, guys, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody watching, everybody in the chat, everybody that's going to watch this. All the best to everybody's families. Have a safe and happy New Year, and best of luck with all your plays, everyone.
Buster,
Buster.
If you could do me a favor, I see in your background there, I see the Mexican flag, and I get it, you're in Mexico, but if you can just add like, a Canadian flag in there somewhere, maybe a US flag for the people that support you and buy your plays each and every day throughout the year. You know what I mean? That allow you to vacation 365 days a year in the sun and sand of Mexico. A US flag, a Canadian flag would be fantastic.
Okay, Carmine. Well, I don't know if I will do that, but we'll see. Because if I then I have to put up both. I'm not sure if I can find a Canadian and American flag down here, so I have to get one back when I go back.
What you could do is,
picture though, Buster. I will say that's a nice picture behind you,
Buster. When the federales, storm your house and see all 3 flags, you can say, because you do a show about the World Cup that is being held in Mexico, Canada, and the USA. There you go.
Very good. Well,
listen,
Buster is Mexican.
Maybe you can Amazon me a Canadian and American flag, because I'm not sure.
I will do that. I will do that in return.
All right,
for
Buster. We'll see you later.
Okay, take care, guys.
Later, boy. Andrew.
All right, Carm, we got one more game to get to here. Tampa Bay and Los Angeles. We've had a bunch of money come in on Tampa in this one here.
Yes.
Recent numbers tell us that LA is kind of slipping a little bit, but when I look at things overall, kind of just my breakdown on this game, I actually think we're going to get some goals here. Look, the Kings on the season, they're one of the top teams in goals against, and they've got great goaltending. Lately, it's slipped for them. And, Tampa's flying offensively. We've seen them play in some higher scoring games. Carm, I'll keep it short and simple. I like the over in this game. I think we're going to get 2 teams with a ton of action, a ton of pace. And even just looking at some of the recent games here for this Lightning team, like, I think they haven't even been reaching their potential, and they've still been involved in some higher scoring games. 4-3 overtime win against the Anaheim Ducks yesterday on the road. Now you continue your road trip, obviously not too far, but play against the Kings now today. I have no reason to believe this won't be another high-scoring game and get over the total. LA, they've got some offense, but right now their defense is sliding. And Tampa Bay, we've been seeing them just absolutely involved in track meets. I'm not sure if that's how John Cooper wants his team playing right now, but they have been. And I'll tell you one thing, I know you used to bet with this in the playoffs, but the power play points, if you want to bet any of those power play points, one team to do it with is Tampa Bay, because their power play is so strong. So whether it be the first period over or the full game, I do think we got some goals in this one. Do you agree with me?
I think there's going to be goals in this game. I actually think that the Kings might get some of them. You get Tampa off of back-to-back. Again, it's a short trip from Anaheim to LA, hop at the bus, and you're there. But it's the goaltending for me once again. It's Johansson in goal for Johansson. It looks like it's Johansson in goal for Tampa, and I get the Kings played that sort of, or sorry, the Tampa played that next man up sort of mentality when Vasilevsky went down with an injury and Johansson was good. There were games, I think there's a 4-game stretch, a 5-game stretch where he allowed 1 goal in 4 of those 5 games. But you look at his last 3 or 4 starts, he's allowed 4 or more goals in 3 of his last 4 games. The only start in which he didn't was against the New York Islanders in a 3-2 game where he got the loss. One of the goals was it an empty netter? I'm just trying to find it here. 3-2 loss in a shootout. So, or in a shootout. So I don't put a lot of stock in those shootout wins, but it's the regulation ones allowing goals. Andrew, you look at the team total, and this is like right up your alley because you're a team totals guy. What is your ceiling on Lane Vig with team totals? Because I'm looking at LA Kings and over 2.5 goals. It's like 175. It's way too juicy, but or Viggy, but over 3.5 goals is plus 135. What do you do there? Make me understand
like
this one
money.
because I want to say, I don't want to say I'm certain because then people will just like, you said they were going to score at least 3 goals last night, whatever. I'm certain that the Kings are going to score some goals today, but if it lands on 3, you're cashing the over 275. You are while laying Vig, but you are losing the plus money one. So it is a tough one to take. But how would you play this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times if you are interested in the over 2.5 at that heavy juice, then you probably just either take the full game or you take the money line on the underdog. But my range is anywhere between plus 120 to minus 130, 140. Like if it's a team total, but I get what you mean. Like sometimes I think that you see those 2.5s and you're like, okay, this team is doing so well right now, and they're going to be able to expose a certain team. It's like you said it, Vasilevsky and even some of these top tier goalies are not playing as well as they once were earlier in the season. You're going to be able to get some goals. And Carm, I think that overall today, the Grand Salami could go over the total. But I think if you like that over, Carm, you just might as well play the full game. What do you think about the first period over, though? Me and you haven't done a lot of those actually recently. They're coming off a game against Anaheim that went to overtime, and you've got an LA team, like I said, that's not been as good defensively lately. What about, 2 goals or more in the first period?
It's just because it's the LA Kings, right? If it was any other team than the LA Kings, you know what I mean? Like we see, sometimes you see like a slow start to a game and then the goals come. You know what I mean? Like the pod play yesterday was Anaheim and Tampa Bay. And before I left to head out for my Uber arrived, and before I was heading out to dinner, the Tampa Bay game was basically at the end of the first period, and it was 1-0 for Tampa Bay. And I'm like, this total of 6.5 is not going to get there. And it finishes 4-3. So the goals came. Eventually the goals came. As much as I want to complain about the Vegas Golden Knights in Nashville having 6 goals halfway through the game and then ending on 6, and it's a bad beat, which I tweeted out. I thought it was a bad beat or a bad push. We got all the goals later on in the game in the Ducks Lightning game. We're gonna have to see. It's the Kings. The Kings at home. I just don't get this team, and I just think that in taking Tampa yesterday and talking about Tampa, it was one of those things that going into that game, Tampa Bay had scored 19 goals over 4 games. The analytics showed that they were about to go on a run. And I don't want to look at it and say that the run ends today just because they're on a back-to-back.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I mean. Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think it's a true back-to-back. This is the same as if Tampa was playing another game in the same city against Anaheim tonight. It's the same thing,
yes,
Andrew. It is such a close thing that it's a back-to-back, but it's just 2 games in 2 days, basically 100 miles from each other.
it's not
You
much.
guys in LA and Anaheim, you can tell me how short that bus ride is, but it's not that, it can't be that bad unless
Yeah,
it's the
it's not
highway.
much. It should be a good
So
game though, Carm. Should be a
yeah,
good game overall.
yeah.
I want to say that
And
yesterday the same game
you're getting
parlays.
Tampa 106.
Yeah, yeah. I don't blame. Yeah, it's going to be a good one though. It's going to be a good game. Yesterday, guys, the same gamers. We went 2 for 3 with the same game parlays. So I told you guys yesterday that I gave out a handful of picks. We had one big same game parlay, but we had 3 2-teamers, and we went 2 for 3 with those. Hope you guys were able to make some money with that one, especially that Minnesota one. That was pretty good to look at. And the sometimes, Carmen, it's as easy as this: Nico Hischier and Timo Meyer both to get a point. You know, you don't have to always reinvent the wheel. 2 of the top dogs on the team for the Devils to get 1 point, and they did that. They got the win. Maybe I could have thrown Devils win on there for some better odds, but hey, we'll take it and move on. So, guys, I have not done my prop work yet today, but I will have some stuff up in the afternoon. I'm going to tweet out some head-to-head stuff, and then I'm also going to tweet out just a couple matchup-based plays as well, just for some props. So follow myself at McInnis Picks and Carmine at Carmine Bianco WT, if that's right, Carm. But, I think that there's going to be 2 different angles you can look at. You can look at the guys that are excited to make the rosters for their Olympics, but you can also bet on the guys that didn't make their team, the guys that didn't, make their certain sport. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe a guy like Cole Caulfield today for Montreal, like he's not going to make Team USA. He's going to do everything he can to prove people wrong. Some people play with a chip on their shoulder, Carm, as you know. So I'd be curious to see who steps up and which kind of players end up getting it together.
Yeah.
A lot of love today in the chat for me and you, Carm. So we appreciate it, guys. We love doing puck time, and we got a lot of you guys watching right now. So hey, it's New Year's Day, and you guys are here with us. Thanks for being here, guys.
How are you guys in the chat even awake? Come on, guys. It's like New Year's Day because your guys are going to be watching NHL hockey at 1:00. And we have, of course, Andrew, we have the college football playoffs going today as well, too. I have one play. I just have to add the analysis and then it'll be up for sale. But 2-0 yesterday with college football plays. Miami, Florida. I thought they could win outright, but I took the plus 9.5 points. They beat those frauds from Ohio State, and of course, I took the Duke first half, and they got the job done as well too. So, 11-3-1 in college football. The Bulls in playoffs for me, Andrew. Rolling. So, but with that said, Andrew. There was a guy in chat saying, why do you guys keep fading the Seattle Kraken and losing money? I haven't been fading the Seattle Kraken. If we talk about them, I probably pick against them. They're 5-5 their last 10 games. They're 5-10 their last 15 games. Unless you're getting them at plus 200 or more each game and betting them on the money line, the last 15 games, you're losing money on the Seattle Kraken. But I don't pick on teams because you know who's a Kraken fan, Andrew. Raven Ron. He'll be here in the chat at some point. Andrew, no same game parlay. You're going to tweet something out, of course. But let's do a pod play. And in honor of Don Buster and Andrew McInnis being Montreal Canadian fans, I am taking the Carolina Hurricanes -1.5 plus 136 on the puck line. They're coming off a bad loss in Pittsburgh. Better goalie today in Bucci. And here's the thing: 12 straight wins at home for Carolina over the Montreal Canadiens. 7 straight wins by 2 or more goals over the Montreal Canadiens. we are going with the Canes -1.5 plus 136 as your bankroll play. And as you can see there, we are up 50% of our bankroll on the season. Drop a comment, guys, when this video is posted later on, if you're watching a little later on, about your favorite charities in the U.S. A lot of guys commented on yesterday's video. I want you guys to comment on today's video as well too, because we will be doing a donation to a few of those charities that you guys post in the U.S. I've already done one here in Canada, and we'll do some to the U.S. for you guys as well too, because we appreciate you guys being a part of this whole process at WagerTalk.
Save your money, Carm. It's a different Habs team. I like it, John. You tell him, John. Tell him how it is, John. It's a different. Come on, Carm. This is the.
Is John in Niagara with Habs Relic? Because I heard there was an ice storm out there, guys.
We have an army. We have an army of Habs fans in this live chat. I love it.
Army of Habs fans. You know, we could easily take over. Ontario could easily take over Quebec. We just storm in there, and we take your Montreal bagels, we take your smoked meat, and we take your poutine, and we make it our own, and we force you to speak English instead of French. But that's a show for another day.
Yes,
Andrew.
Yes, it's gonna be a good game. Carm, I'll just mention for me, 6-1 run now with the NHL. I'll have a couple plays today. I have 4% best bet. That'll go up after the show. You guys can get that. We're heating up. We're picking away. We've got 1 or 2 plays each day. Low volume. Not been the year I'm happy about, but we've cooled down with the volume, and we're getting a lot better now with the results. So 6-1 with the NHL. Yesterday, nice winner with 3.5 over team total. The Capitals, we get 6 goals. So we'll try and keep it going. We got some college sport action as well here today. You guys can get that action from me at wt.buzz/am. But Carm, I believe that new 25 deal is still available for anybody. 25% off any package we have going right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Great deal. I know, and I thank those of you that came along and purchased the 1 year all access, which was $500 off. Plus, you could use the coupon to get another 25% off. I think that might still be available. I'm not entirely sure, but at the very least, 25% off is a great deal on any of the packages, whether it's a 1 day, a 1 week, or 1 month, or 1 year. Take advantage of it. Guys, listen, we appreciate you guys tuning in, especially on first day of 2026. I'm surprised some of you guys are typing and actually getting the words right today. But with that said, guys, we're going to be back on Friday with another show, and we'll try and get a very good 6-60 for you guys, and hopefully another pod play that wins for myself, Andrew McInnis, and today's guest, Don Buster. Guys, Happy New Year's, and we'll see you on Friday.